Okay, perfect. The recording has started. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to Elizabeth, who's going to share our access and accommodations information.
Thanks, Chantel. I'd now like to take a minute to share SNHU's access and accommodation information, which serves as a reminder of resources available for our community members. Your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is important to us. It is our policy and our practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are aspects of this presentation's design or delivery that present barriers to accessibility, please notify one of the following. For online students, the Online Accessibility Center can be reached by emailing oac@snhu.edu or by phone at 866 305 9430. For our campus students, please reach out to Campus Accessibility Center by emailing cac@snhu.edu or by phone at 603 644 3118. And lastly, for staff and faculty, please reach out to Human Resources by emailing hr@snhu.edu. And back over to you, Chantel.
Perfect. Thanks, Elizabeth. All right. So, Dr. Garcia, could you move ahead one slide for me? All right. We are here. We are ready to develop your winning mindset today. So, that is what we're introducing here. So, I would love to go ahead and introduce. Oh, so if you are not awake now, you are now. Yeah, if you weren't awake before, you are now. Thank you so much, Dr. Hector Garcia. So now, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to your wonderful speaker this morning. So Dr. Hector Garcia is a retired public safety professional with over 30 years of public and private service. He has served as a dean overseeing criminal justice and environmental sciences, credit programs, and public safety vocational programs. Hector has presented for the FBI National Academy, the U.S. Department of State in Africa, Central and South America, and he has led leadership development programming in the Middle East. He currently serves as the Associate Dean for the Graduate Criminal Justice Programs here at SNHU and has phenomenal taste in opening scenes for his slides. I would now like to turn the microphone over to the presenter for today, Dr. Hector Garcia. So, Hector, the floor is now yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Did the music wake you up besides the coffee? And thank you for all those folks joining us from Arizona and California and faraway places. So today we have a good agenda for you. It's going to be quick. It's going to be interactive. So this is a presentation where we say, have your cell phone ready. We don't tell you to put it down. We tell you to have it on standby, have it ready, have your computer ready, because there's a lot of interactivity here. So first, we're going to talk about the power of the mind. Then we're going to do a little SWOT analysis, SWOT. We're going to talk about the 5 ways to develop a winning mindset. And then we're going to close it out with a little activity. So let's start right off the bat. You can scan this, or you could join at slido.com by putting that code number down there. Share 1 or 2 words about how you are feeling right now. Oh, somebody's excited. It might be the coffee. Energized. Excited and engaged. Oh, somebody's sleepy or tired. All right, they gotta wake up. Get on the phone. Yeah, see, I knew my music was good. Thank you. In the chat box, what song is that? Because it's pretty new. And I wish I could see the chat box, but I'm sure somebody's answering it. All right, so I do encourage you.
I warned them it's going to get competitive later with Slido, so they better try this in the low stakes right now because it's going to get competitive.
This is a practice. We are seeking our top 3 students or attendees today. So practice right now while you get the chance. All right, so we got a lot of good information there. That was my colleague, Dr. Barb Lesniak. She's going to be helping out in the chat room with some resources and content. All right, so let's move on. Now, this is a winning mindset, right? It's about the power of the mind, how the mind works and how it controls whether we succeed, do nothing, or fail. It's all about what we think. In that opening monologue slide, I had a little picture from one of the ancient philosophers that said it doesn't matter what happens to you, it's how you react to it that counts. So let's take a look at this little video about a famous person who I'm sure we've all heard of and what the mind was able to do such a famous person. So let's take a look.
You are about to hear a strange but true story. Legend has it, Harry Houdini, the master magician, once claimed that he could break out of any jail cell in the world. All he had to do was walk into that jail cell with his street clothes on. "I'll be out of there in 1 hour, no problem," he said. Well, a very old jail down south heard about Houdini's claims, and they accepted his challenge. On the day of the event, many people gathered outside. Very confidently, Houdini walked right into the jail and into the cell, and they shut the metal doors behind him. The first thing Houdini did was he took off his coat. Then, very strangely, he took off his belt. Secretly hidden in Houdini's belt was a 10-inch piece of steel, very tough and very flexible. And Houdini started working. In about 30 minutes, that confident expression Houdini had when he walked in disappeared. In 1 hour, he was bathed in sweat. And at the end of 2 hours, Houdini, in defeat, collapsed against the door, which then opened. It opened because, you see, that door had never been locked. But that's not entirely true, is it? That door was locked. It was firmly and thoroughly locked in Houdini's mind, which meant it was locked as if the best locksmith in the world had put his lock on it. The mind is powerful. How many doors in your life do you think are locked but aren't? How many times have you been stuck in the mental prison of overthinking something that really had a simple solution? There is an ancient African proverb that says, when there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Your mind is the most powerful force you will ever face. It will tell you lies. It will tell you you can't do that. You're not meant for that. You're not good enough for that. You can't go on anymore. You don't have the energy. You must thank it for its opinion and carry on. Because like Houdini showed us, the only locked doors that exist are in your own mind. The doors in reality are open, and all you have to do is walk through.
right, so that sets the stage for what we are going to talk about today, the power of the mind and developing a winning mindset. So our subconscious mind has a way of manipulating us. How many times do we say, oh, we can't do it? How many times do we just focus on negatives? And negative people like other negative people. So they tend to come together. We say, oh, we can't do it. Oh, that's right. There's too many barriers. We can't do it. There's too much to overcome. Well, as you see in that illustration, an anecdotal story about Harry Houdini, it's the power of the mind. So to test that, scientists have done what are called placebo tests. So everyone here is familiar with what a placebo is, right? So remember, they give somebody real medicine and sometimes they give them nothing but a sugar pill. And yet the people who take the sugar pill are cured, where the people who take the regular pill sometimes aren't. So it's the power of the mind. So here we go with our first competitive activity. Now, this is going to be a live quiz. I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying, what you see in the videos, what you see on the slides. And now, answer me this question. Placebos have a cure rate of up to which percentage? Which percentage? So pick one. Which one do you think is the one that is correct out of all of these? So when we did trials, we tested it out, we gave people the real stuff, we gave them placebos. Up to how many people were actually cured by a placebo because they thought it was medicine that was going to help them? Now, the only rule for this ongoing quiz that we have is no Google. We're here to learn, and if you Google, then you're not learning. We're here to explore and try to figure these things out on our own. All right, so let's see what we have here. So it seems that most of you believe it is 62%. Most of you believe that it is 62%, which is pretty close because it's actually 72%. So all those that voted for 72%, we're keeping an electronic tally. Let's see who's who. All right, so far, this is what we got. Because remember, I told you it goes by time too. So good job for Victoria, Sarah, Heather, Christina, and Jen A. You are on top of the leaderboard right now. So let's see how we can continue on. All right, so the power of the mind. The mind is the most powerful tool that we have, right? So here you see in bullet number 3, placebos range anywhere from 15 to 72%, right? So our thoughts can be either positive or negative. And I kind of emphasized negative a little bit when we started. It could be positive or negative. So this is going to be not graded. This is not part of the quiz, but what do you believe are the benefits of having a positive mindset? What do you think are the benefits of that? Somebody who is a very positive person, their mind doesn't dwell on negatives. Now we can't do it. Yes, we can do it. Well, what could one earn and get out of that, being so positive? All right, mental health, success, creativity, yes. Happiness, right? A positive outcome. If you're thinking positively, it's a positive outcome. I remember when I was younger, all these accidents, things used to happen to a colleague of mine that we worked together. One day we were in a golf cart and a branch fell out of a tree and hit him in the head. And he goes, I can't believe this. He drove out of the parking lot one day, believe this or not. He drove out of the parking lot. He made a left to go home. I made a right to go home. I get home 5 minutes later. Remember, he made a left on the street. A plane, a single engine plane, has having engine trouble and decides to land on the highway and clips his truck, spins him out, and he goes into a tree. So, and I say, why does it always happen to you? And he says, I don't know. Why does it happen? It never happens to you. I go, because nothing bad will ever happen to me. So I was already developing that winning mindset. All right, so we see all those good benefits of having that. So let's see how good we did. This is what the experts say. Increased lifespan, right? Low rates of depression, right? Lower levels of distress, better ability to cope, psychological and physically. You're doing better. And you also have a reduced risk of death from cancer. So this is high level benefits that we see. So what is this all tied to? It's tied to something that we call self-talk. Okay, we all have it, right? Aren't we all thinking every day? Sometimes even talking to ourselves, sometimes even whispering. So what is the definition of self-talk? Okay, it's the inner voice that we have, all of us have it, that provides a running dialogue. It's continuous. We're always thinking, okay, I know it's 2 o'clock, I gotta do this. Look at this. He's late, this didn't come in. We're always talking, So this inner voice is called self-talk, right? And it has both conscious thoughts and things that we are unconscious to us. And so we have to guard against anything that is going to be negative in there. And like I said, people tend to normally be negative. Think about it in a day. Go back to yesterday. Think about your day yesterday. How many things did you complain about? How many things did you say you couldn't do? It was nervous. It's not fair, right? I would say the predominant would be. So that brings us to our next big question here. Okay. What percentage of self-talk is negative? What percentage of self-talk is negative? Is it 33 and a third, 42%, 68%, 80%, or 91.75%? What percentage of self-talk is negative? What do you think? And this is just us talking to ourselves on a day-to-day basis. All right, let's see what we have here. By a chance to vote. So most people have said, I like the 4% that said 33.33. You're very positive people. But believe it or not, everyone has gotten this right who said 80%. That means 8 out of 10 thoughts that we have are not constructive, are not positive, right? 80%. So let's see what that did to the leaderboard here. Victoria, Heather, Jen, again. We've got, John, welcome. And Tiffany, we've got some newcomers on the top 5. Okay, very good. All right, so look at this. We talked about self-talk, right? Do you know that the average person has 12,000 to 16,000 thoughts per day? That's a lot of thoughts per day. And if 80% of them are negative, that is a lot of negativity that is derailing us from our winning mindset. Now, 80%, as we said, are negative, and 95% of those thoughts are repeats. They're carrying over. There's still problems at work. I'm still having problems studying. I'm still having problems getting through this traffic. They're repetitive. They come back and repeat. Not almost 100% of them. The negativity carries over from one day to another. 95% of those thoughts, negative thoughts, are carrying over from one day to another. Now, you may say, well, this is like when you're in a class and the professor says, okay, self-talk, but that's very, very generic. Give me examples, give me specifics about negative self-talk. So let me give you those specifics. So we have a series of types of negative self-talk. The first one is called filtering. Have you ever done this? You filter out all the positives. All you can think about is how things could go wrong. Well, I could fail, I could lose money, I could lose my job, maybe I won't get the interview, I'll bomb it. So that's called filtering, where you take out all the positives and say, I'm going to do well, I'm prepared, I'm going in, I've studied, I'm ready to go. You filter those out. The next one is called personalizing. So personalizing says that when something bad happens, you blame yourself. Well, yeah, got into another car wreck. Yeah, of course. I'm known for that. Oh, I didn't get the job. Yeah, that's me. I never get the job. So that's another, you're reinforcing the negative. The other one is called catastrophizing, which you automatically assume the worst without knowing all the facts. You say, oh yeah, I'm definitely not going to get past this class. I definitely not. The class hasn't even started. Well, I know because I got a big schedule. And well, what about the facts? What about the facts? No, forget about that. It's failure. So those are all negative self-talks. Blaming. It's never your fault. It's somebody else's fault. You blame them for it. Well, I could have made it. I could have done my homework. I could have done the milestone paper, but the job, the kids, the family, the friends, the dogs, whatever it is, it's they're stopping me from doing this. So these are types of negative self-talk. The other one is saying you should do something, but you blame yourself for not doing it. I should do it, but I didn't do it, and it's just me. I can't do it. Right? Magnifying. This is a common one. Making a mountain out of a molehill. Like Harry Houdini's story, most of the most difficult things that we encounter have simple solutions. Very simple solutions, but we build them up big, huge. Sometimes you're talking with somebody, you go, wow, that's a minor issue. I mean, yeah, okay, you missed something. Talk to the person, have a dialogue, but they make it really big. The other one is perfectionism. This is for type A people, which I am partially guilty of this one. Setting up impossible standards for yourself. You have to have 100% on every work that you do. You have to have perfect attendance at work. You have to have a performance evaluation at the job that exceeds expectations on everything. And nobody is perfect. So obviously that's going to lead to negative self-talk. And the other one is polarizing. There's no good or bad. There's nothing in the middle. Everything is either good or bad. And if it's not good, then everything is negative. It's bad. So those are the types. So now let's talk a little bit about how we can defeat negative self-talk. How can we defeat it? What can we do? All right. This calls for us to be conscious of what it is that we are saying to ourselves, right? To develop the winning mindset, we got to say, hold on a second. I'm telling myself that I can't do this. I'm telling myself that I'm going to fail. I'm telling myself I don't have time. You have to change those thoughts by what? Distracting yourself. All right. You got to challenge self-criticism. You have to say, no, I can do it. It's a pattern that you got to break and change. Negative thoughts, make them realistic statements. Right? I can't do this. I don't have the time. I do have the time, and this is how I'm going to do it. From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a break. At 5 o'clock, after the kids are home or after I'm done with work or whatever it is, from 5 to 6, I'm going to do this. So you put yourself in a position where your mind is thinking you can do it instead of you can't do it. Right? So did you pay attention to those negative types of self-talk? Okay. So answer me this then. Which of the following is not a type of negative self-talk? Which one of these is not a type of negative self-talk? I can tell you what, they all look good to me. That's because me and my colleague, Dr. Lesniak, we like to write tricky questions to see if you're paying attention. So which one of these is not one of those types of negative self-talk that I just talked about? Which one? All right, let's see what we got here. A couple of minutes to think about it. We got 6 choices for you. 6 big choices. And they all look good. But one of them is not good. All right, looks like most folks have voted. So, got one last straggler, a couple of stragglers there. Hurry up. I'm going to push the button. All right, let's see. Oh, people were paying attention. People were paying attention. Enhancing is definitely not one of them. So, very good. So, all of you have great short-term memory. So, enhancing. We don't enhance a problem, right? How could you make a problem worse than it already is? So, that's not a defeating negative self-talk. That's actually making it worse. All right. Well, Victoria's still up there. Heather, John, Nico. Hey, Nico and Cass, we got some newcomers. All right. Doing good. All right. So we talked about all the negative. Now let's talk about the positive because we're trying to get rid of that negativity, right? Trying to get rid of it. So if we focus on positive thinking, says here a quote, change your thinking, change your life, right? So what areas do you need to change? What are the areas? And we're going to do a little exercise after this, but I want you to start thinking about them now. What areas do you need to change from a negative impact or negative viewpoint to a positive one? Think about that for a second. What is it that you need to change, right? And you got to check yourself. You got to be consciously aware of when. Don't just let it keep riding through, because remember, recognition of the negative thoughts is what is needed. All right. So I put there, stop and change the channel. Go from the negative channel to the positive. Be open to humor. I always like to make jokes about myself. So I'm laughing at myself, not about other people, about me. Look what happened to me. Funny things. And people laugh and I laugh. And yeah, that's what happens. So gotta have a healthy lifestyle. This one is very important. I told you in the beginning, negative people are attracted to each other, but so positive people, you got to attract to them. Isn't it better to be with some? Do you avoid a person sometimes because all they do? I can picture this person right now. Every time I see her, it's one complaint after another. And this isn't fair. And he's doing this and she's doing it's every time for years. And finally, hey, let's get together. Susie's going to be there. And I'm like, nah, listen, I'm busy because I think that negativity is bringing me down. So now what should we do? The opposite of negative self-talk. So this is very difficult to do if you're not cognizant of it, because a lot of it is subconscious. You have to be able to do it. Now, in order to do that, we should evaluate ourselves right now. So if you have a piece of paper, you need a piece of paper, somewhere to write, or on your laptop, wherever you want. I'm going to write a few points down. This is about you and only you. We're not sharing it with anybody. This is just for you to gauge yourself. So let's do a little SWOT analysis. So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But this is going to be a personal SWOT assessment. All right. So because in order to get from that negative to the positive that we see there, we have to be able to recognize the area that might be bringing us down personally, target that area, and then we're going to do an action plan on how to get the winning mindset. Because right now we're just talking about refocusing our thoughts, which is very critical to the winning mindset. So let's see if you were paying attention. In a SWOT analysis, what does SWOT stand for? You got 4 choices over there. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Smart, welcoming, open, transparent, strong, well-planned, organized, and timely, Self-talk. Could that be a clue? Wise, obvious, and thoughtful. You tell me. All right, couple more seconds for the last minute types. All right, let's see. Yes. Nobody likes smart, welcoming, open, and transparent. Come on, it took us a while to come up with these letters. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That is correct. 92%. Got a good crowd here. Victoria continues to be up there with Heather. John, Cat, Nico still in the running. Okay. Very good. All right, so now let's do this. You have a piece of paper. You're going to put four quadrants on there. Just put a line down the middle, put a line across. You got 4 quadrants. So think this is a self-reflection on yourself. So strengths, what do you do well? Weaknesses, where do you need to improve? Opportunities, what are your goals? And finally, threats, what are the obstacles that you face? So as you see here, strengths. What are your personal characteristics? What are your achievements? What are the areas where you really shine? Is it networking, values, ethics? Weaknesses. What are tasks that you seek to avoid? If we were to ask somebody, what is Hector's weakness? We ask people around us. We say, well, I can tell you this. He's never on time. He's always late. He doesn't complete his assignments. And he's always complaining. Okay, those might be what somebody else says. What are your personality traits? For example, are you shy? Are you so introverted that you have negativity out, or are you too outgoing? You're the life of the party, but people, you got to settle down at some point. So, and where do coworkers or students routinely outperform you? Is it in writing? Is it interpretation? Is it resources? Is it bringing in citations? What is it? And your job. So then what are threats, right? What obstacles do you currently face at work or school? What are you competing for? What are your goals? Could any of your weaknesses be threats? And then, of course, what opportunities do you have? So on the paper where you have your four, and here are some examples. You can look them over real quick. These are just examples. But on your paper, you have your four boxes, right? Your four quadrants. So on the upper top left, we're going to do S, strengths. Upper top right, weaknesses, W. Lower left, opportunities. And lower right, threats. Now, realize that strengths and weaknesses are internal. They're internal to you. These are your strengths and your weaknesses. Opportunities and threats come from the outside. They're external, right? A grade you're trying to get, a promotion, a job you're trying to. So those are opportunities. So take a minute. Now, we're not writing a thesis here. These are bullet points. So for example, a strength for me, let's say my strength is research, being timely, whatever it is. So put 3 or 4 bullets for your strengths, 3 or 4 bullets for your weaknesses. What are some opportunities that you have in the future? What are you looking to do? What kind of job, promotion, degree, goal, life goal? What are you trying to do? So those are opportunities, but what could threaten those opportunities? Is it negativity? Is it funding? Is it competition? Is it technology? What is it? So give me 3 or 4 bullets on each one, and we have about 3 to 4 minutes to finish it. So it's, you know what this is. So we'll take a couple of minutes to do that. How's everybody making out with your little mini SWOT assessment due to time? Okay, good. So wrap up those last few points there. It's just a couple of bullets. Okay. And you could follow up. Thanks, Lloyd. I saw that. Or Bradley, sorry. I don't know why they have the names inverted here. Some do, some don't. So, like Roxy Prince. Is like, I know it's not Prince Roxy, so I got that one. Some of the other ones are inverted, like Levan Paula. So I know her first name. So, all right, here we go. So you got everything. Now let's, and we, you could add to it later because of time. We don't have a lot of time to really get into it. All right. So now, nothing happens without action, right? So we're going to kind of set up a preliminary action plan right now, based on what we talked about: the negative self-talk, the positive self-talk, and this little mini personal SWOT assessment that we've done. So looking at your paper, the 4 quadrants, focus in on the top right on your weaknesses. Look at those. Which one do you believe is the one that is the most significant to you? The one that's weighing you down the most, that carries over. Put a little circle around that, right? Put a little circle around that. So now that you have that, we'd like to start thinking about an action plan. So since that's a weakness or a negative, let's try to turn that into a part of a winning mindset, which we're going to cover the aspects of it in a minute. So think about that. Now, let's go back to our third little bullet here on our slide. Let's go back to our negative self-talk, right? What aspects of that weakness that you have are manifested within any negative self-talk that you have? What aspects? Are there many aspects of it? Is it something that you are talking, you have an internal dialogue about this particular weakness? We're focusing on the major one. You may hit all of them, but that one, is it something that's constantly repetitive? Does it repeat from day to day? What was the percentage of negative thoughts that spill over from one day to another? In the chat box, what was that? Does anybody remember? It wasn't 80. It wasn't 72. That negative thoughts that, yes, Letitia, correct. 95% of them carry over from one day to the next day. Right. Hey, Ruthnie, how you doing? One of my students is here. Good to see you. I just saw your name in the chat box. One of my best students here today, Ruthnie. Great to see you. So let us then focus on that. 95% is carrying over, right? So how do we develop an action plan on this? Well, keep that in mind. We're reflecting now, because what I want you to do is, before we decide to create a small action plan, let's talk about the 5 ways or the 5 keys to developing a winning mindset. All right. And these are the 5s. Don't rely on your talent, grit, small steps, vision, and the last one, action, because we're thinking about it, right? All right. Number 1, let's go with that one. Don't rely on your talent alone. You may be a good writer. You may be a great singer. But you still have to work your craft every day. You may want to go on to a promotion, to a big job. And you say, well, listen, I got the best memory in the world. I had a great memory. I'm starting to lose it now in my old age, but I had a great memory. I would open a book and I remember the pages. I could see what was on it. So I would just review before an exam. But what happens now when I look at a page 2 seconds later, I don't even know what I looked at. So you can't rely on your talent. Things change. So if you're good at something, build off of that, right? Work harder. What happens is, what you're good at is going to set you apart from other people, but it could also lure you into a false sense of security, that is enough. That's all you need. You're very extroverted. That's all you need. You get any job, but you didn't research the company. You didn't plan. You don't know what the mission of the company is, the vision of the company. So you may have a great memory, but you didn't prepare. Where a person who has a bad memory, prepared, studied it, and they're going to get the job over you. or the promotion. How did that happen? So don't rely on that alone. You have to work at your craft. You have to study and set your career goals. Don't rest on your laurels, like they say. Investigate your weaknesses. We kind of started doing that right now. All right. And the threats you may face. All right. So target them and address them. So very important. Number one, this is about don't rely on your natural gifts alone. Build on them. Look at your weaknesses. How do they augment? Let's get them together. Let's build up to be a more rounded individual with a winning mindset. Because remember, all of this, none of this will work if you have that negative self-talk. And so maybe I'll set a goal to reduce my negative self-talk from 80% to 40%. Is that a good goal? Maybe, right? It could be. It's up to you. Number two, build your grit. So let me go up to number one. What is grit? In the chat box, can anybody tell me what is grit? It's not the dirt that's on the bottom of your car on the side where the salt is. What is grit? Personal grit. I mean, that is grit, but not in this context. Yeah, perseverance. I always say, you know, and Kayla, I like what you said. I always say, as long as we're moving forward, we fell down, but we got up, or we're still down, but we're crawling forward. You got to keep moving forward. So it's perseverance, right? Getting your hands dirty, yes. That's the way it has to be done. All right. So passion also is a big part of it. He will always say, well, you're so passionate about that subject. What is the subject? What is the topic that you're passionate, that people tell you, wow, you know, you're really passionate about this topic. You know, I could see it. I could feel it when you talk about it. That's part of grit, and that's perseverance. That's what we need to keep going forward. All right. Can we measure grit? Yes, we can measure it. How many times did we give up on a project because we talked ourselves out of it? 8 times? How many times did we settle for not the job that we wanted, but a secondary one? How many times did we settle for a lower grade when we were in school? Well, you know, I was going for an A, but I got a C. I passed. So those are the challenges to build it. And again, action planning is your roadmap. Number 3, small steps. This is very important. Listen, today's day 1. You want to get this big job. You want to get a doctorate. So you go, oh my God, first of all, how am I going to pass the entrance exam? Where am I going to get the money? Where am I going to get the time? What if I don't make it? I'm going to be spending time, wasting money. It sounds like it's very difficult. Only less than 1% of the US population has a doctorate. That means more than 99% of the US population doesn't have a doctoral degree. Oh my God. How am I going to do this? There's no way. There's no way. Well, yes, there is a way. There is a way. You build the blocks to it. Small steps, one at a time. What's the first thing you have to do? Pass this semester. That's step 1. When you pass the semester, celebrate it. I did it. I talked myself out of this negative self-talk. I went from a C to an A or a B plus. Next time I'm going to an A. All right. Now that's my goal for next semester. I have 1 class. My goal is an A. I'm going to dedicate time. I'm going to plan. Once you get that, and you keep building, but you visualize it, you draw it out, you write it, you put it somewhere where you could see it. Every day when you walk by, you see the goal. It will help you defeat that negative self-talk. That's where you're going. That's your roadmap. You're on a trip. You're driving down the road. That's your map. What's my next stop? I'm driving from New York to California. Oh my God, 3,000 miles. I'll never get there. Wait a minute. My first stop is going to be here in Pennsylvania. Oh, okay. We're in Pennsylvania. Let's go out to dinner. Let's have fun. We made it. We're in Pennsylvania. What's our next stop? Chicago. Oh, okay. It's going to take 9 hours to get there. Fine. We're there, right? We're going to go down to Harry's Steakhouse, have a big steak. We're celebrating. Let's keep going. And look at all the beautiful things that we're seeing along the way till we finally make it to the West Coast. It was long. When we first started, we said we'd never make it. Look how far it is. It's going to take us a week to get there. We could be killing ourselves. We're on the way. We're making it. And so that is celebrating the small steps. As you see at each stop, I mentioned that we were celebrating. We went to a steakhouse. We went out to dinner. We went around and saw Niagara Falls. We had a little tour. We're making it through. We're doing something to celebrate. And now this long journey doesn't seem so long because the journey for tomorrow is only to drive 6 hours. Can you do that? Sure. Sure. And we're going to stop for lunch and take our time. So that's the way. And it's positive. It's not like saying we'll never get there. Oh my God. Oh, we're going to kill ourselves. You know how far this is? No, it's small steps and you celebrate them. So we like to call those baby steps. Take little baby steps. But you know what? There's a proverb that says the journey of 10,000 miles starts with one step. We got to go 10,000 miles. Once you take the first step, you're on your way. You're not going to step backwards. You may not take another step for 5 days, a year. Doesn't matter. As long as you keep moving forward. And that's the winning mindset. Not defeating, not saying, oh, I'm going backwards. I can't do it. No, we never go backwards. You know, sometimes they say take 2 steps back to, no, all our steps are forward. That's the winning mindset. Everything is forward. All right. And give yourself credit for it. Change, say, wow, I did it. I got the A. I got the job. I didn't get the job, but I was in the final interview. And look at all the things that I learned. I got all this list of things that I learned. Now, when the next interview comes up, before they even ask the question, when they ask me to provide my introduction, I'm going to tell them all these things. And they're going to say, wow, this person really prepared. Very impressive. So it's all learning, as long as we're moving forward. All right. First build the wave, then ride it. Okay. Number 4, trust your vision. What is vision? In the chat box. What is vision? It's not, going to lens crafters and they say, does this look better or does this look better? You know what I'm talking about? So what is vision? Dwayne said it's purpose, goals. Cynthia says that. See, yes, Nicole, where you see yourself, right? So a vision is a mental picture, right? For us here in our discussion today, a mental picture of where you want to be in the future. Close your eyes for a minute. Don't go to sleep. Close your eyes for a minute and see yourself where you want to be in 5 years. Picture it in your mind. Where are you right now? Not Brandy, I think, who's driving a car. Don't close your eyes. I see you in the car. So think about where, look at your surroundings. Where are you? Where are you? And don't be like the joker I had in the last class who said, oh, I see jail. I see prison bars. I go, hey, listen, you're in the wrong class, man. So where do you see yourself? Picture yourself right now. Where are you? What are you wearing? What's going on around you? What's your position? What are you doing? So that's your vision. That's your vision. If you could see yourself, I see Karen says she wants to be a counselor, right? So I could see Karen in her beautiful outfit, sitting in an office with clients waiting to talk to her. She's talking to them. She's changing their lives. She's getting them away from addictions to becoming positive citizens. I could see Karen sitting very professional, a learned woman talking to these folks, right? Same thing with Jennifer. Even the person Cynthia wants to be self-employed. You have a beautiful office. You have contracts coming in. You're working on a marketing campaign. I can see you at your desk, your computer. I can see your vision just from you telling me that. So I can imagine what you're thinking right now when you see it. Sometimes it's not easy. Maybe you don't have that vision. Maybe you don't have it. So you have to develop it. And it has to be positive. You have to tie it in with the other one. See that 3rd, 4th bullet? Optimism. Oh, it's hard starting a new business. Yes, it is. 80% of businesses fail, or 85%. So mine's not going to fail. Just like when I was riding the golf cart with that guy. He gets in the head with the branch. He goes, how come not? I go, because nothing bad ever happens to me. And he goes, oh, well, something bad always happens to me. And that afternoon, when he drove out, the damn plane hit his car. And I went the other way. I didn't hear about it until the next day. Oh, also, that same guy again, we were working together and there was a portable, a mobile home or something, and we saw smoke coming out of it. And they said, oh, that lady who was in the mobile home, she smokes. She's probably in there and can't get out. I said, oh. And so his name was Charles. Charles said, all right, I'll go to the back door. You go to the front door. I said, all right. So I went to the front door. And as I was going to open it, the lady was outside. It was something in their kitchen. They were smoking up fire, right? And I said, oh, you all right? Yeah. Oh, okay, great. So I was talking to her, how did it happen? She says, oh, it was a flare up with grease. And so I'm talking to her outside. The fire department's coming. And I lost track of Charles. You know, a lot of people. It was a mobile home park, a lot of commotion. And so I see an ambulance coming. And I'm talking to people. I'm talking to the police officer, giving him a statement. And I came in. I said, did you see anybody set the fire? No, it wasn't. And I turned to my right and I looked, and here's Charles laying down on an ambulance cart being put into the ambulance. And I said, what in the world happened to you, man? He had smoke inhalation. He went into the mobile home to look for the lady, and she wasn't even there. She was outside. So something bad. And he always says, see, I told you, something bad always happens to me, and nothing bad ever happens to you. What are the chances all three of these things happen in 6 months? So optimism. And I always said, and it just reinforced, I said, I told you nothing bad ever happens to me. Well, you were born under a lucky star, but it was in my mind that I was thinking, no, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm watching things. So failure, self-doubt, negative self-talk, and negative opinions are what? Normal, right? They are normal. But go back to the opening slide. It's not what happens to us or to you, as Epictetus told us. It's how you react to it. That's all normal. I've failed a dozen times or more. Big things. Doesn't matter. I'm here today. I'm here sharing with you, make your life a little better. So it doesn't matter. That still doesn't change your vision. Your vision keeps going. So I see you like that story, huh? By the way, these are true stories. All right, number 5. Action. All right, not a movie. Take action. All right. You can't think your way to a goal. You need action. We've talked about a lot of things today. Positive self-talk, negative self-talk, the power of the brain, the 5 keys. This is number 5. The 5 keys to a positive mindset. None of this is going to work. You're going to forget about it because 75% of what you hear today, you'll forget unless you take action. You might remember, you might remember the stories I told you because people love stories. But I want you to take action, all right? Don't be complacent. Think about a goal. Remember that negative I had you circle, right? And its correlation to negative self-talk, your weakness. Think about how are you going to address that? How are you going to make, I'm not telling you to become, president of the United States by the next election. I'm talking about one thing to do, one thing. Look at that one weakness that you had, and how are you going to change it into a positive? How are you going to move that out of there? Introverted, afraid of public speaking, bad at research. How are you going to move that from there to your strengths? And how do those opportunities play into it? What obstacles do you have to overcome? So this is called an action goal. And one of the most important things is it has to have a timeline. I mean, who here has heard of a SMART goal? Who knows what a SMART goal is? Right? I see some. All right, so that's important. All right. And so we're running low on time. Correct. SMART. And what does SMART mean? Heather's Nicholas raising his hand. What does SMART mean? Hurry up. We only have 3 minutes. What does S mean in SMART? Superstitious? Yes. Specific. Okay. And the M in a SMART goal? Right, Gary? Measurable. And the A? Specific. You got to be able to measure it. And the A? Oh, look what the A means. Action. That's what we're talking about right now. Perfect. And the R? Or attainable, yes. The R, relevant, right? So it has to be relevant to what? That weakness that we're talking about. And T, finally, time bound, right? So just like we said here, you have to have timelines. So SMART. Think about developing a SMART goal to make that your action plan. All right, here we go. I just had a slide up for 2 minutes. What acronym did you see in step 5, take action? I didn't talk about it, but it was on the screen. Which one of these was it? Which one of these was it? Oh, I was going to say, thank you for the person who put up the SMART goal. It was Barb, Dr. Leslie. Thank you very much. Now vote on the vote in the online. All right, because I see somebody was watching. I think you're copying our screenshots. All right, it was action changes things. But hey, listen, it took us a couple of minutes to come up with those 13% of people who voted for the other ones. Thank you. So action does change things. Now, I think we have a few. Oh, wait a minute. Our time is almost up. Victoria, where are you? You are the winner. Heather, you were in it the whole time. Cassie, John, and Jen. All right. These were our winners today. And I don't see Victoria, but I hope she's out there. Congratulations, Heather, Cassie, John. Great job. And so it looks like our hardest question was the first one. The placebos have a cure. And what was the placebos have a cure rate of how much? What was the percentage again? Cassie says 91. Is that right? 80? You got the numbers are close. 72. Leshy, right? 72. 80 was the percent of negative self-talks that one has. 92 was made up. All right. So that leaves us time for any questions that we can address in 42 seconds. So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Dr. Garcia, for such fantastic tools and keys and strategies to such important mind work. So hopefully everybody got to take a minute to jot some of those things down. And obviously with the SWOT, I think it's such fantastic tools that we can use moving forward in our lives. So we are running up against time. I want to at least maybe I'll open the questions up for about 2 minutes, if that's okay. If anybody has any questions or reflections, I would love to be able to share those with Dr. Garcia and Dr. Lesniak. So I see a couple of, just a lot of thank yous, Dr. Garcia. I'm sure you can see those. We have a lot of applause here, which is, I'm also giving you snaps. Lots of love here.
Momoa, thank you.
From Victoria, which I believe is our winner.
Fantastic.
Okay. Oh, we do have one question. Kelly would like to know, what's a mantra that you use daily?
Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier. It's the mantra is that, first of all, that nothing bad is going to happen to me. And then always that moving forward, no matter what's going on. My mantra is, and I say it throughout the day, it doesn't matter. We're moving forward, because people like to dwell on that negativity. Yeah, but this is going to have a big impact. It doesn't matter. Okay, what happened? How do we rectify it so it won't happen again and move forward? Let's keep moving forward. So that's the one I live by. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Just keep moving.
Just keep swimming. And actually, speaking of action, so Melissa wants to know, when taking action, how long should you give yourself?
Well, it depends on which goal you have. So let's say, first of all, your vision is to become I'll use one of the ones from here, like a counselor. So, and you just started your degree program, or you're thinking about entering a degree program. So I would give myself a reasonable amount of time. So when do you want this vision to happen? And I use, a long-term vision, 5 years. In 2050, then no, this is realistic. So you got to look at the whole spectrum. How long is it going to take you to get from point A to point B? And then as you got to write it out. Point A is here where I am today. Point B is here. There's a gap in the middle. So you're going to do a little gap analysis. That's the gap. How long is it going to take me to get through? Well, we're doing milestones, right? Remember, we're making it baby steps. So we have one big step here, another one, and finally 4. In between the starting point and big step 1, they're going to be little baby steps that we're taking. So each one depends on how long it is to get to that first milestone. And I use milestones because we have those in our classes. So if we want to get here, let's say we want to finish our first year. All right, so we got from now this semester to this semester. What do we need to do? We need to take 6 classes, then start pointing them out. And so that's how you do it. So it all depends on the person and what they want to do.
I love that. Right, like little milestones, and that sort of gets you to those goals, those bigger actions.
Yeah,
So
baby stuff.
fantastic, fantastic. Well, we'll wrap, I guess, with one. You're having just wonderful praise, and definitely take a peek at the kudos that you're seeing in the chat here. But I think Kayla wraps it up really well of just saying that she loved this session. Obviously, she loved the conferences, loved the polls and interactions that you offered with this presentation, and just thank you to you, Dr. Garcia, and the team. And she's so excited for the rest of the day. So I feel like we can just snap on that because that is definitely how everyone is feeling today. So with that, it's a little over 10. So thanks for everybody for giving us a couple extra minutes here. But with that, the lead session has come to an end. So just thank you so much to Elizabeth, to Dr. Lesniak in the chat, offering wonderful resources, and obviously to our fantastic presenter today, Dr. Hector Garcia. And thank you to all of you guys for spending some time with us and participating in this lead session. You've been fantastic. We hope you'll click the link in the chat. You'll see the leads program so you can explore other sessions available throughout the day today. And if you're an online student, we also hope to see you back in the SNHU community just to continue the conversation about leads. So thank you so much, everyone. We hope you have a great, wherever you are, whether it's a morning, afternoon, night, whatever the time is. We just appreciate you spending the time with us and hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.